happy to share this moment with you. And as you can already tell by the title, today I'd like to talk about a topic that isn't all too common among guided meditations or whatever you want to call them. Anyway, I think that many of you might benefit from dealing with that topic from a different point of view. The idea here is that by talking about this in such a meditative state, we look at this topic not from our mind, but from the heart. And perhaps looking at our idea of hate and perhaps our feelings of hate, if we have them, it might be beneficial for us to look at those things from the heart. Before we get started, in case you haven't already, get into a comfortable position. Breathe in, breathe out, get easy, and we'll get started in a moment. Please keep in mind that what I'm saying is my point of view. A lot of what I'm going to say is based on my thoughts on that topic. Some of it is based on me having done research on it. Basically, it's a mixture of it all. And yeah, just keep in mind that I don't think of myself as someone who knows the ultimate truth. That'd be quite naive for me to think. I'm just sharing my thoughts, and perhaps they are of some value to you. But do be skeptical, and don't think that what I say is the ultimate truth. It might be, but it pretty well might as well not be. Either way, let's get started. I think that we say we love things or people when we feel deeply connected with them, or when they bring us lots of joy. For now, let's just focus on people or beings in general. On the contrary, we feel like we hate or despise someone when they make us feel more or less the contrary to what I've said about us perceiving that we love someone. Many people despise, for example, politicians, or the police, or soldiers, for example, for acting in a way that isn't aligned with our moral standards or values in general. Today, I'd like to share my thoughts on that with you, and perhaps some of it is of value to you. I think the first thing that we should do here is for me to state my understanding of hate. What is hate? Hate to me is a strong destructive emotion that is rooted in pain. Let me say it again. Hate to me is a strong destructive emotion that is rooted in pain. In a way, it can always be traced back to an own shortcoming. Now, before you get all, confused or angry with me or whatsoever, in case you do, just give me a moment to explain myself. Sometimes we seem to forget that our values are subjective and that theirs may be rather contrary to ours without anyone being right or wrong. In a sense, everyone is working towards his own utopia. I have friends whose, for example, political ideas would make me want to pack my bags and move to a different country, but we're still friends because we see that we each, with different intensities, work on our vision of utopia. And if we're honest with ourselves now, oftentimes when we despise other people's opinions, we just maybe be a little self-righteous, a bit arrogant, and perhaps a bit too comfortable for being open to restructuring our view on the world that our mind has created. We just might be a little too inconsiderate, too lazy, too comfortable, to be open to restructure our idea of the world. We say, this is how it is, and that's just that. You may now say that there is a limit to where tolerance is acceptable and appropriate, and many people simply have crossed that line with their opinions or even actions. Maybe we hate someone who hurt us deeply, and we feel justified in feeling that way. Feeling like that person genuinely sucks. But if you ask me, if we feel that way about someone, we're taking the shortcut here, and we're making things a little too easy for ourselves. It's quite comfortable to harshly judge someone who harmed us intentionally. We simply degrade that person by emphasizing his or her shortcomings, and we place ourselves above them and look down on them. We hide our pain by telling ourselves this shouldn't affect us so much because we are way above them and they aren't worth it for us to feel sad because of someone as meaningless as them. To me, that's plenty of superficial self-affirmation, and we might perceive it to be a quick, halfway effective solution to dealing with the issue that hurt us and still does. We perceive it to be the only right thing to think about this. Like, how could you view this from any other point? How could you have any other opinion if someone acts this violently, this drastically, this inconsiderately? I have to be against him. How could I not? When we hate someone and say we don't care about them or an incident anymore, we are absolutely fooling ourselves. It's still bothering and hurting us. And if not in our conscious mind, or in our consciousness in general, it might be in our subconscious, even though we might be too unconscious to realize. It may manifest in moods or exaggerated reactions in other situations, but it's there. The pain is somewhere there. I don't really know anymore who said that, but somebody said that when you're crying, oftentimes it isn't just because of what has just happened to you. Oftentimes, lots of those tears have already been there. They've been stored there. And then this something added to that and caused the water to basically flow over. Couldn't hold it in anymore, but the tears were already there. And one of my goals with sessions like these is to let go of those tears, of that hurt. To shine the light of our awareness, of our consciousness, onto what is hidden in our subconscious, to work things through and be in peace with ourselves and everything around us. And to help other people feel like that too. Instead of talking down on those people that hurt us, instead of building a wall around our heart to not have to deal with the pain, I want to encourage you to trace back that person's actions or opinions. You don't have to do that now. This isn't the time to really think a lot about things. You may do that later if you like. Just be present now. If you ask me, every single time a person voluntarily hurts someone, it can be traced back to them being in pain. Again, this is important. In my opinion, every single time a person voluntarily hurts someone, it can be traced back to them being in pain. I'm not talking about beings hunting each other for food or parasites destroying their host. I'm referring to inconsiderate behavior or the intention of hurting someone in order to make them suffer. I might be wrong, but to me, every one of us is pure love deep inside. Throughout our lives, many circumstances, like us getting hurt, or wanting to belong, and having a sense of identity, cause us to manipulate ourselves and change how we view the world, our place in it, and also our own identity. We build walls around ourselves. We live in bubbles, and leaving those illusions, those ego constructs, maybe doesn't even cross our minds. Because rather deep inside, we might feel too afraid to go out there with an open heart and to embrace the world with open arms. Which to me is a desire that is even a lot more deeper. A lot deeper, I mean. I believe it is because of that manipulation that we, on an unconscious level, bit by bit, drift off from our core, which is pure love, and therefore get more and more unaware of this unconditional love, not only within ourselves, but also the unconditional love that is to be found in others. We don't look at people from heart to heart anymore. We look at them from mind to mind. We look at them from an ego perspective, from a superficial level, and we superficially encounter those people. It is then when we don't walk through life encountering people heart to heart but mind to mind, that we are able to hurt someone voluntarily. If we look at people that hurt us from that perspective, we perhaps come to realize that instead of hate and degradation, the appropriate reaction just might much rather be quite the contrary. It might be compassion. It might be love. I genuinely don't think that violence or hate is the best reaction to violence or hate. I think love is the way to go. We may then rather think, how miserable must you feel to be able to hurt me like that? Instead of wanting to hurt them more, now we much rather would like to help them, or at least not cause more hate. Who truly benefits from hate anyway? Your superficial ego, perhaps, but it's pain. And when you're in pain and you react with more pain, that just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. It is more difficult to try to understand someone instead of simply putting him or her down. But I believe it's worth it. I don't want to fight hate with hate. I just want to love. And perhaps you do too. That is all that I wanted to say, or I want to say, about that topic for now. But I'd like to encourage you to sit in silence with me for just a little while, to perhaps let that sink in before we continue our day or go to sleep, whatever your plans might be. thank you very much for sharing this moment with me. I hope that you were able or are able to benefit from this, and I wish you all the best.